So here we are in MACNA 2018, Las Vegas, and I've pulled aside Michael from Aqua Craft, who is one of the absolute founders of our industry. And we just want to get a minute just to understand a little bit about his history and his impact on this particular hobby and the products that he focuses on.
Hey, thank you very much for talking with me. My name is Michael Delprete, and I'm the CEO of Aqua Craft Products. We've been in business since 1969. For those interested in aquarium fish, specifically marine animals, I am the first person to breed, advertise, raise, and sell clownfish in a 100% artificial medium. Today, we produce marine salts, various formulations for universities, laboratories, public aquariums, and into the home aquarium marine market. We also produce a full line of high purity supplements that are available in a variety of sizes to meet each end user's needs.
And what year was that when those first clownfish were bred in synthetic salts?
I was doing that in 1971, and it was an absolute first. I was able to communicate with some people in Florida and get a lot of information as to the first foods, the various microorganisms, and how to harvest them, as well as develop a nutrient solution to feed a unicellular algae, which in turn was fed to copepods and then rotifers, which is used as the first food for clownfish and now a variety of marine angelfish and tangs being cultivated in captivity.
And so what was your history that made you morph into the direction that you've gone? Like what was the precursor that got you into this direction?
We've always had aquariums at the house. And when I came out of the service, I started keeping freshwater aquariums. I had a small business that was around the corner from a well-established aquarium shop in San Francisco. And I got to be friends with the owner, and I eventually got into keeping marine fish. And after a series of monumental catastrophes and failures and learning what was really required equipment-wise and knowledge, I began to have more and more success, and finally was able to keep marine animals in captivity for many, many years.
And so what year did that all start?
That was in the late 1960s. So I've been keeping fish as a hobbyist, saltwater fish, for almost 2 years. Then I got into keeping marine fish, and I eventually had a concession in the aquarium store that was around the corner from my other business.
And so back in those days, what was your information source? What was your inspiration? There was no internet. There was hardly any books. Like how did you go about educating yourself back in those days?
It depends how much money you wanted to lose. You know, if you have a problem, there was really no one to talk to. I was able to meet some very good people in Florida and Los Angeles who were well-versed in aquarium keeping. I then started to import tropical marine fish directly from the Philippines, and I had taken several trips there, which allowed me to see how the animals were collected, how they were kept, how they were housed, their husbandry, and how they were shipped. And this was a great benefit for those really interested in how to keep these animals to their full genetic life expectancy.
And so back in the 60s, give us a picture of what was a fish tank. What was it made out of? What was it run by? Well, what were we looking at back in the 60s, before I was born?
Oh, thank you. So when you had your first aquariums, they were all metal framed. And a lot of the decorations were rubber plants with a wire inside of them. So none of this stuff could be used in a seawater aquarium. So it had to be an acrylic aquarium or an all-glass aquarium without any metal fixtures. The outside power filters, which are long since gone, eventually had to be replaced with equipment that was more suitable for contact with salt water. And the gravel that was used in an under gravel filter, and everyone said under gravel filters suck. Well, they do. They suck water into the biostrate medium, and it comes up with dissolved oxygen, and that's through its exhaust air outlet. those were very basic, very, very minimal, and it was virtually impossible to keep live corals until the late 80s when trickle filters began to come into play, and those types of filters increased dissolved oxygen, degassed toxic ammonia, as well as harmful carbon dioxide. And then we saw these trickle filters were actually offshoots of something from the sewage industry. They were scaled way down. A lot of the filtered mediums were still used in that type of industry, where it was brought over to the aquarium industry, and little by little it got refined, and people started to realize about dissolved oxygen, BOD, biological oxygen on demand, the removal of toxic carbon dioxide and other gases, and which allow you to pack in more animals in a constrained space with less maintenance.
And how were the tanks heated back in those days?
Same as they are today, a simple glass tube with a heating element in it, and some of the heaters that were used in those days are probably better made than some of the imported heaters that we see today from Southeast Asia. Some of the better heaters come from Italy and the United States, and I'm seeing some very good stuff from Australia.